Okay, so now remember the point that we are trying to discuss here is measuring distance between clusters, right? So suppose we arbitrarily define two clusters, right? Arizona and Boston is one cluster, right? And the other three, okay, so that's the second cluster. So we have two clusters. We'll need this part for only centroid. So let's go down here, and this is your single linkage, right? So single linkage is what? Distance between two clusters is the distance of the closest pair. So here we have to look at, so that is one. So that is one pair, right? So now these are the, okay, let me use, now these are the distances between pairs. Okay, so these are in one cluster and these are in the other cluster. These distances are within cluster pairs, so we will not consider these. These are the distances that are between one cluster and another cluster and all pairs. So there are three here, there are two here, so there are six distances of all pairs. So the minimum is the single linkage will be the minimum of all these. Okay, so that is the distance between these two clusters if we use the minimum distance measure. If you use the maximum distance measure, of course, then you will do max of the same thing. Okay. Now average distance, okay, again we now have the individual pairwise distances. So all you have to do is to find the average. So if you want to use the average distance, then this is the distance between those two clusters. Now if you want distance between centroids, then we have to find the centroid of A and centroid of B. So for that we have to assemble the values of the predictors. So we have predictor Arizona and Boston. Okay, so those are the two rows for cluster A. Now cluster B is that. Okay, so these are the three observations in cluster B. So to find the centroid, we have to find the average of each predictor. Okay, so now we have that's for predictor 1, that's for predictor 2. So this is the centroid of A, and the centroid of B is this. So now we can set up the distance between these two centroids, so which is square root of sum x minus y squared. So centroid of A and centroid of B, and then close parenthesis for square root, and you get the distance. So obviously each one will give a different distance. Then you have to make a choice which of these you'll use in the cluster analysis, and one approach is to use each one of them and figure out which one gives us the best results and use that. So these are the choices that we have for estimating the distance between clusters.